Alrighty, hello everybody, and welcome back to another match. This is against Arlesco. So this is round 6. I don't know the actual league structure at this point. I'm just playing matches to play matches. My goal was to get a match against everybody, and I'm hoping I will be able to accomplish that. There's 8 people in the league, including myself, so I have 7 matches to play, and this is the 6th. This hand is fine. I can't turn to him, which is unfortunate. The Brainstorm and the Plow give me a little bit of insurance against early stuff. The 2 expensive spells give me pause, but hopefully Brainstorm will find another land. I think we're good with this. If he's a combo heavy deck, then this is unfortunate, but maybe I'll be able to find an early black source for him. I don't have any information about what type of deck this opponent is playing. Sometimes I'll be able to, pop into another match or see what somebody's playing just from my friend playing against them, but here I have pretty much no information, so this is a treat. Okay, gonna pass. So if I'm gonna do the Brainstorm thing, I'm gonna do it on his turn. Hopefully he plays like a 2-mana spell or something. If he plays a creature, what I can do is I can Brainstorm, hopefully hit a 3rd land, shuffle away one of these 3-mana spells probably, and then fetch Scrubland, which would allow me to Plow and him, but I'm just going to Brainstorm an end step anyway. Drops makes me think Beans, or perhaps just some other form of Bant control, like an Uro-based deck. Okay, I did find a Scrubland, which is awesome, so that means this is going to get Underground Sea. The Mentors are actually probably fine. I'm going to get rid of K-Command. This is more of a mid-game value card, not an early-game one. Ooh, Stifle. Well, perhaps I should have predicted this. But 2 Tropical Islands didn't really scream tempo to me. I could be wrong. In any case, I will ponder to shuffle away that Kolaghan's Command. I now need to be aware of Wasteland, because that's on my radar. Thank God for the shuffle. That was a abysmal hand. My Vault gets wasted, I'm in a lot of trouble. I'm now stuck with this additional Mentor, which I didn't really want. Mostly just looking to develop my mana and not get run over by whatever he's doing. Good old Goose. Wow. I don't think I've seen a Future Sight Tarmogoyf in 4 or 5 years. This makes me happy. What a classic. Alright, should I end step Plow this into Daze? I think I'm okay if this gets Dazed, because mostly I want my more expensive cards to resolve. Spell Pierce is also acceptable. Yep. I will not pay. Alright, 3rd land, show me the truth. Sweet. Okay, now how good is Force of Will in this matchup? Definitely 1 Mentor is going back. If I keep Force, then I can potentially protect the Mentor that I do play, but I'm honestly not really even about that, right? So this turn I'm probably just going to Plow, playing around Daze. Next turn I will be able to Hymn, and then I can start doing like Flow State, Snapcaster, Plow stuff. So I think my mid game is already kind of tied up, and I don't really care about protecting stuff going down a card. This could be absolute suicide, because maybe if he plays another threat that I can't deal with, that's frustrating. But I think I will shuffle away the Force of Will here. It's nice to know this is not stifleable. And I'm going to get the Underground Sea, despite the fact that Wasteland is a possibility for the island, just because I really want to be able to cast this Hymn next turn, probably. So let's Plow. 2nd time's the charm. Alright, 4 cards to 4 cards, 3 lands to 3 lands. He's got the first draw step. I don't think we're in too bad a position. Whew, the Goose. My Goose is cooked. If I had a 1-mana spell, I would consider Cutter into that. But I think I'm just going to play this around Daze. Pierce, Force Will, all options. It also does get the Goose closer to being online, but this is the most effective use of my mana proactively. and then I can flow state next turn perhaps with a better chance of it resolving. Whether this resolves or not, it's gonna, probably eat some interaction out of his hand. Yep, force and borrower. He just let it happen. There was always some tension with him against Force of Will, because it's like, do I want to pitch 2 cards on my terms or potentially keep the important card and let the RNG just happen? Void Rend is actually pretty good against this deck in general because it's an uncounterable way to hit something, but right now kind of useless against the Shroudy Mongoose. I'm gonna flow. How good is Jace? Probably not great against this, but once I have some tokens, it'll be fine. But I think I just want land Thoughtseize. He's down to 3 cards. This hits my land drop, makes his permission a little worse, and I get a peek at what's going on over there. If he had a Delve threat, he maybe would have played it. Interesting. Oh yeah, he just had 2 lands. Okay. So he bolted me, and then I shocked myself. That's just good value. Well, that's very good news for me in the sense that I'll be able to play like either Mentor plus 1 mana spell, or Cutter plus maybe 2 mana spell, or just Snapcaster, flow state next turn, and it's more likely to resolve. He's just keeping the lands in hand for brainstorm purposes. That makes total sense. Alright. I think it's Snap Flow State. If this gets dazed, I still have a thing in play. If he dazes, he will get Threshold, so I won't be able to block profitably, but putting something into play is better than nothing. I was talking to a friend of mine about that new Stingcrafter Mage card, which is like Snap, but red, and it's, oof, this is not great. Well, lands, for the Mentor is not bad. Next turn I'll be able to go Cutter Mentor, or Mentor Cutter, either way. Take these 2. Do I want to Sanctuary something? I don't hate it. Maybe give me... Ponder back on top. Alright, so I have a force for anything that's really scary. I know he has at least 2 lands in hand. He comes up with Mongoose. He can grow it at threshold at instant speed, so I won't block. A friend of mine said I should have played a Cling to Dust in this deck, and it actually kind of would have been sick. Okay, still only 1 unknown in hand. I know about the 2 lands, so I'm pretty optimistic about this line. What color do I want to leave up? White, blue, probably. So Mentor like this. Ponder like this. And now, even if the Mentor gets answered, at least I have tokens to block. Yeah, he's done from there. Okay, that's really good news, actually, because a traditional Delver deck is probably one of my scarier matchups. As we saw with the Death Shadow deck earlier, my mana base is weak. I'm weak to Stifle. I'm weak to Wasteland. Spring Verdict is excellent here as a sweeper, as is Lockdown. The only thing this doesn't hit is Mandrills if he's playing it. But with Mongoose, there's a tension with Delve threats, so not likely to see that. Definitely my Pyroblasts. I don't think I want Hydro and Blue Blast because they usually don't run any red threats. They only run like Bolt and maybe their own sideboard Pyroblasts, Chain Lightning, things like that. So I'm going to wait on these. If I do see a young Pyromancer or Third Path Iconoclast or whatever in game 2, then I'll reevaluate. And then I usually cut my Force of Wills in these because, again, going down on cards is pretty bad. Drown is pretty reasonable if he's filling his graveyard. K-Command seems like the weakest. It only hits Delver out of his major threats. It's usually not going to be big enough to hit a Tarmogoyf, for instance. It can get back my stuff, but if we're at the point in the game where I'm like playing a Snapcaster, blocking, getting it back, like that seems kind of egregious. Jace is in a similar spot where it's good against Goyf and it's good against actually, you know what, Jace is probably worse than K-Command, huh? Because this, in addition to being susceptible to Bolt in the main deck, it's also susceptible to his sideboard blasts. So maybe the K-Command's just better. Actually, would I rather just have these as limited as they are? They might actually have more targets than Kolaghan's Command now that I think about it. This is also just a very expensive non-creature spell that just gets spell pierced, so we'll see. I'm gonna try it. This is a, let's just say, experimental sideboard option here. Thoughtseize weirdly is not actually that bad because they don't empty their hand, and then you can sometimes force through a hand that has a couple counters in it. So we'll give that a try. Impressed to win a game one. I've actually won a lot more game ones in this league than I thought I would. Thought my deck would kind of just be like medium against everybody, and then I'd have to board in a ton of cards. But yeah, it turns out medium is okay. Sand is totally fine. I mean, normally you'd want some more spells, but against a deck with Wasteland and Stifle, I can't complain. And here I actually will be getting my basic island just so I can ponder safely. He might just be playing like old ass Rug Delver, which is actually totally reasonable. I've had a theory philosophy in Legacy for a long time that the tempo shell is so strong that you can probably just play, you know, a 2009 Rug Delver deck and you're decent, you know, because like the core of like Daze, Wasteland, Spell Pierce, Force of Will, you know, all that stuff doesn't get any worse. Your threats get a little worse, but that's not really what makes the tempo deck strong. Anyway, this Ponder, again, Mentor was strong last game, but it took some maneuvering. I do have the Blue Blast to protect it from red removal. I think this is totally fine. And again, with all the fetch lands on my hand, I have the option of shuffling later if needed. Just develop my mana, don't play too strong into Daze, don't get wasted. Those are my goals. Now, having said that about the threats, I will say Mongoose does take a while to get going compared to a more 2026 threat. It is really good against me because of the Shroud, but it's not like putting my life total in immediate jeopardy like a different threat might have. Okay, the face-up Wasteland, so I get to at least choose which of my lands gets run into that. So long term, my goal is to like cut her into Ponder, right? If I fetch the Volk, it's just going to get wasted. If I fetch Volk and play this, it's going to get dazed. So I think I'm just going to go land go. Let him waste it. Understood. I looked into Wastelands on Magic Online, and like for some reason the real like Tempest Wastelands are crazy expensive, but all these other printings are like much more reasonable. So same with Force of Will. Like I have to play those Dominaria remastered ones or whatever because a real one is too expensive. Same deal. Just not gonna play into anything. I could have played a fetch land last turn or this turn to just let it get uncracked, but I think I'm okay with trading his wastelands for my time. It's also always the chance that he like taps mana on his turn for a cantrip or something, and then I can play around Stifle better. He's been conspicuously leaving this blue up for multiple turns, so I don't think I want to play into the kind of face up Stifle here. Okay, now I will. Okay, Lockdown is an out to this, but I would have to fetch 2 white sources, which is not the end of the world. I've lost 1 Tundra, but I would have to get Scrub Tundra. That is a concern with these double white cards in the post board, by the way. I didn't mention this in my deck tech, but you kind of want them against decks that play Wasteland, and then unfortunately 2 Wastelands can put you out of commission to cast them. I think Cutter into 1 mana spell is going to be better than Mentor in this game, so let me shuffle away a land and a Mentor. I'm actually going to crack both of these now. If he has a 3rd Wasteland, so be it. But I just want to play around the Stifle as best I can. Stifle also has somewhat more value targets against me than the fetch lands. Like, for instance, he can stifle a cutter trigger to prevent a blocker. He can stifle a mentor trigger, a snapcaster trigger. So, obviously, if I crack a fetch and he has a blue open, he's going to shoot a stifle at it, right? But the longer I wait, the stifles retain value against me better than they would against other similar decks. So I'm not like too afraid of straining them in his hand, because I don't think that's going to happen. Okay, I would love to resolve this lockdown now against these two. That might be a bit ambitious. So what I'm going to do is Cutter and then him. Almost certain to eat a Daze or a Spell Pierce or something along those lines, but... Oh, again, I don't have double black. Well, this is fine, though. The Force of Will happens. It's down to 4 cards. These will be active next turn, assuming he has a fetch land of some kind. I go to 6. Yeah, I think I need to ponder. So what I'm looking for is a blast of my own to try to force through this. Perfect. So don't want the second him, but I will take Snapcaster and Pyroblast. So I need him to have a hand that is not just a single piece of interaction. Okay, he's in the flow, but he does not have a sorcery, so this is just a cantrip. If he has more than one piece of interaction against me next turn, then I'm in a little more trouble, because I take 6, I go lockdown with blast up, he counters both, and then I'm just toast. Okay, I'll play this Delta first, in case I need to hydro back somehow. And then we're locking it down. The other option for this in the sideboard is explosives. Both are kind of similar in their applications and targets. Let me fetch first. If he cracks to stifle... Okay. Do I want Mystic Sanctuary? I mean, at this point it doesn't matter, because the game ends if he has another piece of interaction, so I'll just get another Volk here. I'm going to Pyro this. Dead to Spell Pierce, dead to another Force of Will. Wow. Great news for me. Now, I'm not out of the woods because I'm at 5. Dude could, oh, he could also just have Stifle. Interesting. Okay, bolt me. Totally fine. Yeah, that's what I was going to say. At 5, I'm kind of vulnerable to just bolt, or, you know, one more threat would be kind of annoying. Puts me to 2. Totally cool. The reason I didn't blue blast that bolt, by the way, was because, you know, 2 and 1 are effectively the same, so I don't really mind my life total at that point. Okay, if I play Mentor with Blue Blast only up, I mean, don't have much to think about, so let me just do it. Kept myself off him, which is unfortunate. Could have got Badlands with the second Volk, maybe, and if I Pyroblasted off Badlands, I still had Volk up for Blue Blast. Dismember. Okay. As always, one of the best draws. I'll leave up this black land just in case I do find Underground Sea for the him. Couldn't have dreamed it up better. So this will either get his 2 cards or it'll trade for a counterspell. And then now it's basically just the top of his deck versus this, which, I mean, if you're playing a discard-based strategy, this is the best we can hope for, right? People used to play Modern Jund and be like, man, he top decked and beat me. And I was like, well, yeah, but that's kind of like your whole goal, is to get the game to a spot where that is not a problem. So I'm going to snap the flow state in the graveyard instead of playing the one from my hand. primarily because I need to get creatures in play, and then also while the shields are a little bit down on his soft permission, I want to use my more expensive sorcery speed plays. That's stupid. Let me leave up white. I'm not gonna Thoughtseize even if I find it. So, oh shit. I said that anyway, and then I played the one from my hand, but that's totally fine. This is a bad idea. I play this land. I'll go to 1 if needed, but yeah, I really screwed that up. I should have flow stated from the yard first, and then to see what I have as an option. I'm now out of white sources for the plow, so that's looking a little weak. I just have the blue blast up, but it's against 1 card in hand, and I still feel okay, but that was definitely a poorly sequenced turn. Did mention to a friend of mine that I'm not used to kind of giving the running commentary while I play. A lot of this stuff is just going on in your head, but it's not front and center. You know what I mean? So actually keeping the video interesting and having an ongoing stream of commentary is still new to me. That's totally cool. Wasteland was a fine draw, but not the best. I will Cutter. And then I will Brainstorm. Triggers the Cutter. This gives me a little insulation. As you saw in the burn match, I'm able to plow my own guy to save a little bit of life. Definitely don't want Thoughtseize or really Void Rend, I think. That's totally cool. I don't know if I'll shuffle because going to 1 is a little bit frightening, but I might be able to go for like a Giga play next turn if I can play. What do I need? 4 spells to... Oh, he just gave it up. That's totally fine. Anyway, yeah, I think Tempo is one of my my harder matchups, but I seem to have pulled that one out. The blasts on the board, these Pyroblasts have been obviously stellar. I mean, it's legacy, right? No surprise here. I'm not telling you anything you don't know. But the Hydroblast actually, I mean, they were kind of okay. Never cast it, but they kept me in the game, whereas otherwise I would have been just straight up cold to a top decked second Lightning Bolt. So I kind of like the idea of that. As far as my sideboard goes, I mentioned this in the deck tech, and I've been completely right. These Surgicals and Priests have been kind of weak. I was expecting like Sneak Show or Reanimator based combo, but in fact the only graveyard deck I've played against has been Bombardment, which they were good for sure, but I don't think that it's a huge proportion of this specific league metagame. But as always, I tried to make my sideboard as broad as possible. This was something I did back in the days of playing like weekly local legacy, and if you only have 8 guys coming out to your weekly, it's kind of tempting to like pre-sideboard or even build your sideboard for that expected metagame. You're like, well, I know 2 people here play spell combo, so Deafening Silence or whatever, right? But in my opinion, locals and small leagues and things are basically testing for, if I were to go to a bigger tournament, how would I construct my deck? So I want to build my deck to face the field at large, not necessarily the expected metagame of one event. Obviously, people have different philosophies on that. I'm not saying anybody's wrong, but yeah, I think this is a totally fine broad spectrum sideboard for things that I think exist in this format, even if in this particular league it wasn't the most effective. But happy to pick up another win. I think I'm close to 50-50 on match win right now, and I have one more match to play. So glad to get it, and glad to get these recorded for you guys. Thank you.